when people hear my music, I want them to be like, damn, what do you do to that sample? Like, a lot of times I'll play the sample out and, before the song comes on, and then I'll show how I chopped it. And I love seeing the look on people's faces, when they hear the chop.
1, 2, yeah. Come on. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Yes, sir, you are tuned in. This is for the SB1200, ASR 10s and NPC heroes. This is for the crate digging, loop getting, sound manipulators, the Fruity Loop reasoning machine innovators that pump the bass and frequently freak the kick in a stand till it slaps in your speakers. The sound providers that make sure the song is tight. Shout out to the producers, beats grinding live. Shout out to the producers, beats grinding live.
Welcome to the Beats Grinding Life podcast with your host Siren, a weekly interview podcast with inspiring music producers, where every week you will learn from a different music producer how to potentially take your music career to the next level.
Today's episode of Beats Grinding Life is brought to you by Audible. Get a free audio download and 30-day free trial at beatsbooks.com. Over 180,000 titles to choose from on your iPhone, Android, Kindle, or MP3 player. Some recommended readings by past Beats Grinding Life guests like 48 Laws of Power, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, The Secret, Tools of Titans, and The Song Machine are all available with Audible. Once again, go to beatsbooks.com to get your free book. What's up, Beat Grinders? This is another episode of Beats Grinding Life. I'm your host, Siren Beats, and with us today we have HillProp97.
What's up?
HillProp97 is a music producer and educator based out of the Baltimore, Maryland area. You might know him for his tutorial DVDs that he has released over the years. HillProp97 has also released a number of instrumental albums, including I Want My Daddy's Records, dedicated to his deceased father. His credits include the MC out of Cleveland, Ohio, Sam Poetry. HillProp, what's up, man? How you doing?
What's up, man? Thanks for having me on, Simon. I appreciate it, man.
No doubt, man. No doubt, man. The pleasure is all mine, man, to get to talk to somebody like you, man. I've been watching videos of you just chopping up samples and whatnot, chopping up drum breaks, and so it's an honor just to talk to you, man, and get to know how you work all of your equipment, man. So thank you for coming on.
Oh, definitely, man. It's always a pleasure talking to fellow producers, beat makers, man. I love it.
No doubt, man. No doubt. Well, I just read a brief intro on you. Why don't you let the beat grinders know a little bit more about who you are, man, and fill in the blanks?
Yeah. So I'm originally out of Capitol Heights, Maryland. Moved to Baltimore in 2000, and before all that, I was always listening to my father's records. I started putting little mixtapes together from his collection of like soul records, jazz records, and I kind of wanted to stop doing that and not actually make the music. So I got into I think I went out and got a Boss DR202, which is it's not a sampler, but it was just like a drum machine, a little cheesy 808s on it. It had some good sound, and so I making beats on, or drum beats or whatever on that, using a metronome and tracks and all that type of stuff.
Right.
And then in 2000 I went and got that MPC 2000 XL and just went on from there with that.
Dope, man. Dope. So was that Boss machine? Did that have a sampler in there?
No, that wasn't a sampler. I didn't even know about that. Because I think at the time they actually had the 202.
Okay.
But I didn't even know about that. This is before the internet, and you can go on and research stuff and all that. There was no YouTube at the time.
Right.
So I went to, it was different times. So I went there and I saw this drum machine, and I recognized the name Boss.
Right.
Like, okay, it makes quality stuff. And I got one. I bought it for like $300 and brought it home. And that was my first actual equipment.
And you were on. Man, I definitely relate to that story, man. My first drum machine was the Boss Dr. Groove, and so yeah, man, that has some good sounds in it. But you know, I mean, they were cheesy sounds, but at the time they were some good sounds in there. Yeah, man. So
and you know, I started actually even before that machine, I was using software. Like they had software back in like mid '90s. You know, they had like I think Cakewalk or Magic, or you know, they had software where you could it's like mini DAWs where you can make beats and stuff, sampling to.
Yeah,
and
Cool Edit Pro.
I used Cool Edit. I would put drum breaks in there, and then mess with the timing, and then throw a sample over the drum break, and that's how I was making beats. Like I wasn't chopping anything. I was just sampling drum breaks and throwing samples that I would choose from records and throwing it on the drum break. And messing with the timing so it, you know, it sounded right.
That's what's up, man. Now, see, I wasn't even using it to its fullest capacity, man. I was just recording what I had in there. What we would do is, me and my bros, we would just take the Dr. Groove and we just we'd make a drum pattern, and then we sample from the sampler I have with my turntable setup, sample a 10-second sample, and then just record it on the tape, you know, and that's how we're making beats. But yeah, man, so hey, that's what you had to do, you know, back in the day when, you know, you had little resources, you know, you had to be creative as hell, you know.
Yeah, and then if you didn't know anybody who made beats, I mean, you were on your own. You know, this was no YouTube. I couldn't go on there and research. I didn't really know anybody who was making beats. Like I knew DJs, but nobody I knew was making beats at the time.
Right.
Until YouTube came up and I started, you know, fellowshipping and talking to different people on YouTube, and you know, you start, you know, getting experience on that. Yeah,
man, the barriers to entry were so high that, you know, I mean, back in the day, I remember if I met somebody that made beats, I was pretty rare, you know. It's like, damn, you make beats? Oh shit, you know. But that's what's up, man.
Everybody and mom make beats now, man. It's
everybody
like,
makes beats. That's crazy.
Everything's so accessible. You can make beats on your phone now. It's just crazy, you know. It's just.
Yeah, who would have thought that, man? It makes some pretty damn good beats too on your phone. So. That's what's up, man. All right, man. Well, you know, I mean, we have taken it back. We're showing our age just a little bit, but you know, I want to know, man. You know, we always start off with history here, man. And we want to know the history of you. What made you want to get into music? What made you want to get into music production?
I think it's just my parents. They were always playing music around the house. My father was blasting his Spinners records. That was his favorite group. And when we would go on trips, you know, he'd bring his tape collection. His tape collection game was on point. This is before satellite radio and you know all that stuff. So you would either had the radio stations which switched and changed as you went through different states or whatever. Like it go from like, you know, playing LL to playing some like Clint Black or it's like that. Right. So that exposed me to different music. You know, I was all into like the soul music, the jazz, and stuff like that. But then I started getting into country and, you know, the pop music and all that. And so that's always been in me. So when it came time for me to, after I was you know, making the mixtapes or whatever, I wanted to start making the music. That was the reason why. And then, you know, I was always listening to the Gangstar, the DJ Premier. Right. I was hearing his beats, and I was like, you know what? I wasn't really that much into the lyrics. Like I love lyrics, but back then I was always into the beats, like the way he chopped his drums. I didn't even know he was chopping drums back then, but just the way it sounded, the way his samples started to sound on the I think it was the Daily Operation album when he started like really intricate with the chopping and all that stuff. And I was like, man, I kind of want to do this, man. I would just sit and just lay back and just listen to, you know, producers like him and, you know, Diamond D and, you know, digging in stuff like that. And I was all into that. So I was like, I want to do this, you know. Dope,
man. Dope. That's a great story right there, man. I mean, I can definitely relate to that, you know. You know, Premier, you know, started off for you, and then, you know, well, before that, my bad, man. your father started off for you, you know, with the music, and you know, he said his tape collection was on point, you know, so you got to see, you know, a music collector right there, and I'm sure it just transferred over to you, and now you're collecting music as well, just like him. You know, that's what's up, man. I don't want to keep mirroring you or anything, but I definitely relate. You know, my dad had a huge record collection, you know, and so, you know, and when my dad passed away, you know, I inherited his whole collection, you know, so yeah, man, I definitely know where you're coming from with that, man.
I know you know the feeling of this, you know, taking the records from his, you know, house or whatever, and then bringing them to your place. Mm-hmm. You know, I'm pretty sure he took care of, you know, people back then took care of records. Like,
oh yeah.
You know, us growing up in the hip hop game, we came in like scratching and stuff like that.
Right.
You know, they had no idea, like, how you ruining my records.
Exactly.
My needle on these records, and I'm seeing scratches. I mean, they was meticulous, you know, looking at the clues, and so, but you know, it's weird that now, you know, that their collection is now ours, and you know, I take care of it, man, like it's gold, you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure, man. No doubt, man. And you know, and repurposing and using it for something else, you know. I mean, yeah, we listen to them, but you know, at the same time, we're sampling. And that's something that I'm sure, you know, they never thought they would have been used for, you know. So
definitely.
All right, man. Well, you know, second question we always ask is, you know, what was the first piece of equipment or software that you started off with? It sounded like it was that Boss Beat Machine, man. So when you got that, man, I mean, what was that like? How did you get that? Did you have to save up for it, or I mean, tell us the experience of that.
Yeah, so I went into the place in DC called Chuck Levin's Washington Music Center, and I went in there and I didn't know what I wanted. Like, you know, I didn't know how people made beats. I didn't know anything. So I knew enough to go into like the turntable section, audio, you know, pro audio section. I was like, you know, I want something to sort of like, I knew the term drum machine, so I asked for a drum machine. Right. I didn't even think to ask for a sampler. I guess I was thinking that all drum machines had a sampler on it. I didn't know.
Right.
You know, again, this is before internet, so I just research done. So I went and got that and brought it home. I had the money in my account. I think I was working at the time. 96, I was in college, so I had like a summer job or something like that.
Okay.
Bought it for like $300. Brought it home. Had no idea what to do with it, you know. And I just started reading the manual. And I was like, okay, so you can press record and play, and then tap the pads, and sounds happen, and it records the sounds. Like, I had no idea what I was doing. You know, I was making some, you know, basic, like, I guess trap. It wouldn't be really trap, but it, you know, because they had 808s in there.
Trap sounds, right?
Get sounds. So I was using those and just making little beats or whatever. You know, they had bass sounds in there. I throw a little bass line on there. And but you know, it wasn't anything serious. It was just experience, getting my game using an actual machine.
Right, getting your palate wet, just figuring out how to make beats. You know, that's what I say. You know, it was good for just learning the craft of making beats. Because you know, I mean, all those beats I made on there were trash. You know, on the Dr. Groove were trash. You know, but just learning, getting you know, getting my hands working and my mind working with how to create a beat, you know, that was very important. So
yeah, it was like practice getting whatever's in my head onto that machine. It was sort of practice doing that.
Right.
Like you have a certain beat in your head and you want to transpose that into the machine and actually make the machine do the beat that's in your head. So it was practice doing that sort of thing.
That's what's up, man. So was it ever frustrating for you? Because I know that the music you listened to was mainly sample based. Was it ever frustrating just knowing, damn, I can't make the stuff that I want to make?
Yeah. So I got frustrated with that machine, and I still wanted to make beats, but so I stopped using that and got into the software at the time. I had one of those big desktop computers, and I had the Magic software, eMagic or something. I forget the name of it. But they had some type of software you can put samples in, or add a turntable. And somehow I was getting the stuff from the turntable inside the computer. Because this is before they had audio interfaces. Right. So I was some rigging it up somehow, and I from there returned to the computer. Like I was sampling Al Green, like I was doing Love and Happiness, sampling Love and Happiness, chopping it up somehow. Like I was taking segments. I didn't even know it was called chopping. I was just taking different segments from the song and putting them over drum breaks.
That's dope. And you're chopping samples and didn't even know that you were chopping.
Oh yeah.
That's what's up, man. Okay. All right, man. Well, when you were coming up, man, when, before you bought that, or when you bought that Boss machine and when you were chopping samples up on your desktop, man, who were some of the producers that inspired you?
Yeah, so that was around like 97, 96, 97, 98. Of course, it was DJ Premier. It was DJ Muggs.
Ooh, yeah.
I loved his griminess, the dark samples he used on Sunday. I didn't know anything about machines back then, but he was using that SP1200, and they had that sound, and that I loved.
Right.
Producers like Larry Smith from even before then, back in the early '80s, Houdini, One Love, Larry, Sucker MCs, Run DMC, stuff he did with them. Wow. Yeah, those three producers really shaped me as far as like sonic. What do I want to listen to? How do I want my beats to sound when I create them? I want them to have a heaviness, a darkness, a griminess, and then later, I started learning about, Diamond D, and producers like him, and
That's what's up, man. That's what's up. Wow. Well, those are four pretty great producers right there, all legends. Those if you're gonna pick producers to sound like that, you didn't make a bad choice at all. I grew up listening to all those guys, and they were heavy influences on me as well, man. So I can see where you get your sound from for sure, man.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, here on Beats Grinding Life, man, unfortunately, we gotta, hit the dark side, and we gotta go to the side that nobody ever wants to talk about. But here on Beats Grinding Life, we enjoy talking about them. And what is that? That's the major setbacks and failures. Because we all know that with failures and setbacks, that's how we learn. That's how we grow. I want to know from you, what is a major failure or major setback that you've had in your career that you were able to take and grow from that, so that maybe we can look at your experience and avoid the pitfalls?
I'm in an interesting position where I don't know. I'm not really like chasing like rappers for to get them to use my beats or anything like that. So I do this thing for like therapy. I love making beats, man, and I haven't really had any like failures and making music, because I get up in the morning, I do this. If someone likes my music, that's like, if one person likes it, man, especially if one person buys my album, right. that makes my life. Like someone actually in this day and age, they could just stream it if they wanted to, but they purchase the album. And I'm like, because I'm in my studio just making beats, not even thinking about I want this person to like it, I want this person. It's just whatever comes out. Listen to it, and if it's good enough, I'll put it on the album or whatever like that. And if somebody likes it, man, that just makes my world, like, Nice. So I really have not outside of music. My father passing, I had to, I was grieving, and I turned to music to get me through the period. Like music for me is therapy.
Right. Right.
If something's happened bad in my life, I can always go to music, relieve stress, make beats. If they turn out good, that makes my day. Producers make stuff, you don't feel it.
Right.
And even if I don't feel something though, I'll save it and come back to it, because I'll be listening different.
Yeah.
Next time you come back to it, you're like, what, this does sound alright. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Because how many times have you made a beat and you didn't necessarily think it was trash, but you was like, it's not one of my better beats. Right. And when your friends or somebody hears it and like, okay, I want that beat right there. I'm like, what? You like this beat?
Yep. That always happens. You know, I've just, you know, being on this show and talking to other producers, you know, I always hear producers say that, you know, rappers or singers will pick songs that they never ever thought that they would have picked, you know. So.
Yeah. And I heard a crazy thing. I heard Prodigy was talking about Havoc.
Mm-hmm.
The whole story with Shook Ones. Havoc had a knack for just turning off his machine after he make a dope beat. He wouldn't even save it. He'd be like, you know what? I don't like it. He would just flip the switch, and you know, once you turn that Ensoniq 16 plus off, that's it. You know,
right?
So he almost did that to Shook Ones.
Oh.
And Havoc was like, son, you crazy? Like, well, okay, I'll save it. Yeah,
whoa,
Shook One.
We almost lost a classic. That's a classic beat right there. I mean, that's one of the best hip hop. You know, we played music at work, you know, and Shook Ones came on the instrumental, and somebody like, this is probably the greatest hip hop beat ever. You know, and that we almost lost that. That's crazy, man.
Yeah. And I can sort of attest to where Havoc, his mindset is, because when you make beats, if you're making like beat after beat, if you're like in a zone, beat after beat, a lot of times, you know, your ears become numb and you don't really, you're not really hearing certain things. So it's best to save whatever you do, right? And come back to it and be like, okay, because you start listening for certain things differently. You know what I mean? Yep.
You'll come back with a whole new, fresh ear. So that's what's up, man. Well, you know, I love that answer that you gave, you know, because you're saying that, you know, you're not making beats specifically for anyone's pleasure. You're making beats for your own pleasure. And to me, that's just how it should be done. You know, I mean, you're going off of what you like, and then if someone else likes it, you know, hooray, that's what's up, you know. And just, you know, like you said, hey, if one person likes my music, that's, you know, that's great, you know, because you're not making it for anybody else. You're making it for yourself. But unfortunately, man, I'm going to have to push you a little harder. I want to know a major setback or failure. And we've all had them. We've all had them as producers. Maybe you dropped some equipment. Maybe you lost a disc, you know.
See, yeah, I've had things like that. Like I've lost some beats, man. Some beats on the XL, man. You remember the media that we used to save things on, like floppy disks, and this weren't the most reliable.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I've lost tons of beats. Equipment wise, I always take care of my stuff. Like I use it with kit gloves, man. Like if I gloves on it, you know, I'm that type of but I've definitely lost beats. Forget to save. I'm still like I had made around the time I made the SP1200 album. I had a beat I thought was crazy, one of my craziest beats I've ever made, and I saved it on the 2500 MPC 2500. Still looking for the beat for that beat, man. Because at the time I was making little things on the 2500, getting ideas down. And I was like, okay, let me do the same thing on the 1200.
Right.
Because, you know, it's a different process to make beats on the 1200s. I was using 2500 as like a sketch pad.
Okay.
But yeah, it was a beat. I used this record. This record was a group from DC too, and I sampled it. And man, I made this incredible beat. And I'm still looking for the beat to this day. It's been
right.
So definitely, I've gone through that. All producers have gone through, like, losing beats, dropping equipment. You know, fortunately, no one's ever stolen anything from me. I know people had their stuff stolen. Like, you know, that's like losing a child almost. You know, somebody's.
For real, man. For real. Well, you know, yeah, like you said, man, those floppy disks are not reliable at all. You know, I can't even load up beats from my MPC anymore because I think that the drive is messed up, you know, so.
The actual floppy's corrupted. They don't last long. Yeah.
And I've had that too. Yep. So yeah, man. All right. Well, thank you for sharing that, man. We're going to hop on the other side of that now. I want to know, what's a moment in your career that you consider your greatest achievement?
Yeah, it's a few of them. Like I'm still, you know, doing it. So, but one of the most things that's really brought me a lot of joy was performing for the first time. It was at a block party. My man Gadget, Digital Hustle, he has a block party like every year. It was the first one last year, and it was in front of a crowd in DC, like the Arch District of DC.
Okay.
And people were coming off the train and stopping and just staying there and listening to the music.
Wow.
They had food going on, and people were there in chairs just watching. So I had my trusty SP404. I was performing all my stuff on there, and I loaded like a 20-minute set, and I was just playing joints that I never played for anybody. Some songs people knew from the internet or Instagram, and it was a very good experience. I was a little nervous going on, but then once I started doing my thing, I was like, you know what? People started getting into it.
Yeah.
And I got the whole experience on film. So.
Dope.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, did you put that on YouTube? Can we find it on YouTube?
Nah. Yeah, I still like bits and pieces of it. I do, but I'm gonna put the whole thing on my YouTube channel or my website, HillProp97.com.
Dope.
You'll be able to see the video pretty soon.
Okay. Well, man, we'll definitely be on the lookout. I know I will. Beat grinders, you guys definitely should. So. All right, man. Well, here on Beats Grinding Life, we're always striving for greatness, man. We want to be like the guests that come on this show, man, like you. And so, we want to know, what do you do in a typical day, man? So that way we can structure our day just like you do, so that we can become as great as you one day.
Typical day, get up. I'm an early riser. Like I wake up singing. Like I love. I get up 4 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock. Roll out of bed. Usually I don't eat anything yet. It's too early, so I go straight downstairs, start making beats. Or if I don't do that, looking for inspiration. Like, cause you don't feel like making beats every day. At least I don't. I'm not that type of producer. Some dudes can do it. Like that's all they do.
Right.
Like I'm on. I got Knots. I follow him on Instagram. That beat after beat. It seemed like every day.
8 beats a day.
Like one beat number 2, beat number. It's all heat too.
Right. Yep.
But I don't. I'm not like that. So I gotta seek inspiration. So I'm on YouTube daily, looking at people beats, listening to music on YouTube or Spotify or Apple Music, and looking for inspiration. I see somebody on the machine. I'm like, you know what? That sounds all right. You know what I mean? And then it inspires me to get on my machine, especially if I have the same one, and make beats and or go downstairs and listen to some records or nice. A lot of times I'll go on YouTube and do random searches of like I'll just type in jazz, rare jazz on YouTube and stuff will come up. And a lot of times I do it and this was like taboo back in the day. Like you sample from YouTube, like you had to. You couldn't tell people you sample from YouTube.
Yep. Right.
10 years ago, I used to get flack for it. Like even though I had records like crazy.
Right.
But people was like, they would get on you for that.
Yep.
So I do that, or and once I get inspired, I go down and start off with the drums first. That's just my technique. I always do the drums.
Okay.
A lot of times it's seen as backwards because you want your drums to fit, the sample. You do your sample first, but
right.
My beats are drum driven. Like the drum set the whole tone for the whole song, and most people know me for my drums. They usually compliment me on my drums first.
Cool.
You banging or whatever like that.
Right.
So, but yeah,
okay.
Go to the gym, come back, make some more beats, or get on YouTube.
Damn, man, that sounds like a perfect day to me, man. I mean, beats, gym, then beats again. Yeah. I could do that every day, man.
Like I said, if it's not beats, I'm looking at people make beats, or I'm listening to music, getting inspiration. And I'm not even trying to bite anybody's styles. Like this, it just inspires me to hear stuff.
Oh yeah.
And the way people take, a sample and flip it and like, that was pretty dope. Let me see if I can do something, doper or, just as good.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, you know, I feel the same way. Sometimes I feel like it's a friendly friendly competition with others, you know. So when I hear another beat, or you know, it's like, oh man, I could do that, or let me see if I could do that today, or you know, whatever. I always say, once you do music, you just listen to music differently, you know. Yeah. And so with hip hop, at least, I don't know about other genres, but you know, it's so competitive driven, you know, that you know, you listen to something and you're like, man, I know I can do that. I know I can do better, or whatever. So with me, at least,
because with hip hop music, it's different from other genres, especially make beats. Like no other genres is somebody criticizing the drums on like Cyndi Lauper's Time After Time. Right. You know, nobody's like, you know, criticizing, you know, Michael Jackson for the beated drums or, you know, bass line. But people will criticize Ninth Wonder, for example, like, oh man, he used those same drums on this song, or you know, even Ninth Wonder was like, I was reading something, he was like, because he put out a drum kit, and he was like, and it's not the same drums I use all the time either, so you know what I mean. But yeah, so. You know, people criticize, you know, the genre of music we're in, especially people that make beats.
Yeah.
So, but yeah,
that's ridiculous. But I mean, because you look at it, I mean, like in other genres, there's only one drum set, so there's only one drum kit, you know. But in hip hop, you're expected to use so many drum kits, you know. It's crazy. I mean, we all got tons of drum kits in our, you know, loaded up, and so.
Yeah. I mean, it could be for the good too. It can be like, you know what, you know, let me step my game up. Let me experiment with different things, you know.
Right. Yep.
Keep people's attention.
Yep.
So you can carry it either way, you know.
For sure, man. For sure. All right, man. Well, this next portion of the interview we like to call In the Studio. Here we get to find out what you do in the studio, how you do it. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, man. I want to know, what do you do when you first start crafting a beat? You already told us that you start off with the drums, but is there anything else that you do? I know that you said you start off in the morning, so are you grabbing a cup of coffee before you start your beats, or is there anything else that you do?
I'm straight out of bed, go right down. Sometimes I make beats naked, man. I'm like, I don't even put on clothes. I'll be right. In the, you know, I live in the house by myself, so.
Oh, dope.
You know, do whatever, right? You know, you know how to go when you're home alone.
Right.
But nah, I might eat a little something if I'm hungry. Grab I'm not a coffee drinker, so I get a glass of water, you know, make some eggs or something like that. Usually when I'm inspired to do something, I gotta hurry up and do it, or I'll lose that inspiration.
Yeah.
You know? I don't really be messing around when I finally get inspired. I got to get down and create, because I can just like that. And I usually make beats on inspiration. Like people can just do it all day. In order for me to make beats, I got to be inspired. So I try to keep myself in a creative mindset. So whereas I'm listening to, you know, pop, old, you know, music from the, you know, 70s, 60s, 70s, whenever, different genres, Latin music. Like my girl, she's from Ecuador, and she has a collection of records, and she bought me this one particular record. She was like, you know, you might like this, and it was this group called Macano or something like that. And I sampled them and made this crazy beat, Spanish type of beat. And just being exposed to different music, you know, exposing yourself to different music keeps me creative, and I keep wanting to do the same thing, making beats, man.
Yeah, man. That's what's up, man. It definitely expands your sound, you know, when you listen to other genres of music, man. So the only one guarantee, the only one ritual that you may have, you know, sounds like you leave it open to whatever, you know, but the one thing that's constant is the drums first.
Yeah, drums first. Lately I've been getting drums off of my like I have this collection, Ultimate DJ Tools. And this sounds really corny to me because I'm from like old school, like, you know, sampling drums off of records. But nowadays, man, I get lazy. Sometimes I don't feel like hooking my turntable up to a different sampler. Right. And you know what I mean? I got drums on my phone, on my iPad.
Oh.
And they have some rare drum breaks. Like, iTunes has drum breaks.
Really?
Yeah. So I know that because I had bought this app called the MPC Pro app, where it's the MPC program on the iPad, and you can make beats on it, but you can only sample from iTunes Music. At the time, now you can sample from a turntable and all that, but at the time it was only through iTunes. I was like, well, drums, and so I searched, and it had like rare drum breaks, and I'll take those, EQ them through. Cause I always EQ my drums before I sample them into my sampler.
Okay.
And so I'll do that. Mess with the low end, put more low end on the kick, high on the hi-hats or whatever,
nice.
And get them sounding right. Chop them up once I get them in my machine, and then sequence something, basic drum beat, and then take stuff out and add stuff as I actually make the actual song, and start chopping the samples and putting them over the drums. Okay, this will sound good. This drum, take this out right here, add this open hi-hat right here. And that's sort of how I formulate the song.
Okay, that's what's up, man. That's what's up. Well, thank you for that, man.
But drum's always first, though.
Okay. All right, man. Well, what's a not so secret weapon that you have in the studio?
Well, people know me especially from my tutorials. My first tutorial was on the MPC 2000 XL, and the majority of the videos, my early videos on YouTube, were on that machine. Before I started venturing out on the Native Instruments machine and the 4000 and all the other machines Akai has, but they know me for the XL. Lately, it's either the 2500, the MPC Live, or the 404SX.
Okay.
But if you know me, man, I got classic joints, man. I got the 1200, the SP 1200. Got the iconic drum machine. You know what I mean? And that locked up in an anvil case in my basement. Trying to keep it pristine. I break it out every once in a while, especially when I have company and people want to see it.
Right.
It's like just an iconic piece in hip hop history, man.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
And I got it when it was like, I want to say cheap. It was $2,000, but because they're up to like $5,000 now for SP 1200.
Wow. Yeah, you did get it on the cheap. That's what's up, man. Okay. All right, man. Well, what all do you have in there? It sounds like you got a ton of hardware in your studio. What else? What all do you have in there? What's all in your arsenal?
Well, I have a lot of these. Lately, I've been collecting the Roland and the Boss line of these little portable samplers, like the 404 SX here.
Oh yeah.
I have the 303, the one that Madlib used for Mad Villainy. It's a dope one. I have the 505, SP 505. I have the Yamaha SU200. It's a miniature sampler.
Okay.
Drum machine, real grimy. Came out in the 90s. Late 90s. And then I have the MPC line, the Live, the XL, the 2500, the 2000, and I've had the 4000. I just sold the 16 plus in Sonic 16 plus. I have some rack samplers, the Roland, the Roland SP 555, which was ahead of its time because it's a 12-bit rack sampler. Came out like late 80s, early 90s, but it had video. You could hook up a video cable from the sampler to your monitor, and you could see the waveforms.
Oh, dope. Okay.
The Roland S500, the Roland S550, 12-bit sampler. You can get it cheap, like $50-$60 on eBay now.
Okay.
So a lot of people want that 12-bit sound that you can get from a SP 1200 or a MPC 60. But then, of course, I have the machine, MK1, 2, and 3 instruments. I have gear lust, man. I'm a gearhead.
Yeah, I see.
I got sickness, man. I calm down, but
that's not a bad habit to have, man. I mean, collecting gear is better than a lot of other things.
Oh, yeah. And then, each machine has a different sound to it. So that's why too, because, they have a different feel. The level of creativity that you need on an SP1200 is different than what you need on an MPC Live.
Right.
You have those sampling limitations on there on the 1200. So certain things you got to think differently so that your beat doesn't sound monotonous. And so I like just changing the machines, just to boost my creativity.
For sure, man. For sure. Wow, that's pretty dope, man. I mean that you're definitely in producer's heaven right there, man. I mean, you got everything that you could ask for as far as drum machines go. Do you have any keyboards?
Besides, like I just got a Korg. It's a miniature. I forget what it's called. It's like a mini keyboard. It has like plastic keys. You can almost put it in your pocket.
Oh, wow.
Like a mini keyboard that you can, because now, like I was at one time buying keyboards, but nowadays you can just get the VST bass lines. You just, do Arturia or, all the stuff with your software. Like, Fruity Loops has synths, Ableton Live has synths. The Kai software has synths now. So
right.
I just bought the MIDI keyboard and then, and play it. Play it there, you know what I mean?
Yeah. That's not a bad approach right there. Okay, well, that's what's up, man. Oh, what kind of turntable do you have?
I still have my original turntable I bought when I was making mixtapes back in '95. It's a Gemini PT2000.
Dope.
I have a PT2000 and a PT2002 XL or something like that.
Okay.
And still work. Still, they were considered like mid-range at the time, or below the mid-range price wise or quality wise back at the time, but they still work. And I still have the same needle I bought back then too. Like so yeah.
That's what's up.
And, yeah.
Durable, man.
Yeah.
That's what's up. Okay. All right. Well, Beat Grinders, if there's anything that HillProp97 mentioned that you guys are interested in, you guys can go to Beats Grinding Life website under his show notes, and I'll definitely provide links to everything that he mentioned. So, all right, man. Well, this next portion of the interview we like to call In the Mix. We're just gonna speed things up a little bit. It's like rapid fire. I'm gonna ask you some questions. You give me quick answers. But if you need to take your time to elaborate on a question, man, we definitely don't mind. We encourage it. So, you ready?
Oh, I'm ready.
All right, man. Do you prefer making beats with samples or without?
Definitely with samples.
Yep, should have known. What's your opinion? What's your opinion on selling and releasing beats online?
Oh, it's just better for the producers now. I love it. I wish it was like that back in the day. It's easier now. People hit you up on Facebook, and you can just email them a beat or whatever. I love it.
Nice. Okay. What's a plugin that you think every producer should have in their arsenal?
Oh man. Right now, there's one plugin from Ableton Live. It's called Wide and Warm Master. Under the mastering section in the Ableton Live, it's called Wide and Warm.
Okay.
And my music is real lo-fi. Not really lo-fi, but sometimes it's too lo-fi, so I'll put that plugin on one of the beats or whatever, and it brightens the song up. Puts resonance there and makes it like it's ready for radio, so sort of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay. So is that the DAW that you're using? Are you using Ableton?
Yeah, Ableton Live.
Dope, man. Okay. Are you? Is your next purchase going to be the Push?
I had the Push 2. I didn't like it.
Okay.
Yeah, it seemed like it was just too many buttons. It's just, I'm real simple. Like if it's too much, it'll mess with my creativity, and I won't. I won't be successful.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I understand that. Okay. All right, man. Well, what's a book that you think every producer should read?
Hip hop, music wise, this book called Check the Rhyme. Was it Check the Technique or Check the Rhyme? I think it was Check the Rhyme, and it was a book about all the classic 80s and 90s hip hop songs, and the actual people behind the records, the producers and the rappers that actually did them. They're talking about the experiences they were dealing with while they were making the record. Like Common was in there talking about what after he came from college. He bombed at college back down south. He came home. His mother was like, "What you gonna do now?" And he got with No ID and Doug Infinite and made that classic.
Yeah. Can I borrow a dollar?
Can I borrow a dollar? And then the one after that was
Resurrection.
Yeah.
Dope,
so it's a really good book. I recommend it to anybody who loves hip hop music.
Yeah, man, I'm definitely checking that out, man. We have the biggest bookstore, I think in the U.S. or in the world, I'm not sure, here in Portland, Powell's Bookstore. So I'm definitely next time I make a trip down there, I'm definitely gonna check for that. So that's what's up, man. Okay, well, Beat Grinders, you guys have the opportunity to get a free book. Here on Beats Grinding Life, we're offering a free audio book to you, the producers. All you have to do is just go on beatsbooks.com, register, and you can claim your free book. Is there an internet resource that you use that you think every producer could benefit from? And when I say internet resource, I mean a mobile app or a website.
Oh, definitely. I'm always hitting up, especially if you're an MPC head, I'm hitting up mpcforums.com.
Nice.
And even if you don't have an MPC, they have different forums in that on that website. We're dealing with like different gear, production questions, record questions, music business questions. They have a forum for that. So it's a really dope forum if you're into the culture, the beat making culture.
Yeah, that's what's up. Okay, man. Well, thank you for that. I'm gonna have to visit that. I was on that back in the day when I was using the MPC and just kind of fell off of it. But it seems like that's something I'm gonna have to get back on.
You doing software now, or are you still doing hardware? I
moved to the machine. My MPC was just the screen was going out, the floppy drive was going out, and so I wanted to wait for the MPC Studio or the Renaissance, but I couldn't at that time. I needed something right then and there, so I just went to the machine.
Yeah, machine was much cheaper, and could do more at the time.
Yep, that's true, man. So, all right, man. Well, can you describe the feeling of the first time that you had a placement? It doesn't have to be a major placement, but the first time that you heard somebody rapping over your beats. Can you describe that feeling for us?
It was just somebody who randomly, I have a lot of times people randomly go to my SoundCloud page, which I used to update that pretty frequently a few years ago, and some of the songs I would make available for download on there, and they would just take them and throw some verses on there and then get back at me and like, listen to this, what do you think?
Dope.
And this one dude named Chatter out of Chatter TNN out of Houston. When he said out of Houston, I'm like, it might be some like Paul Wall type
Right.
This dude was like super lyrical, you know what I mean? He just murdered one of my beats, man. I was like, man, and every time I put out a beat, I have him in mind. I'm like, he would sound good on this.
Nice.
But yeah, it was an incredible feeling because, that was the first time really somebody had actually done something with my music. And, when I'm making the beats, I'm not even thinking about MCs rhyming over it sometimes. Right. I'm just making the beats like whatever sounds good. Yeah. But when someone actually likes it that much and then rhymes over it, it's just like, wow, it blows my mind.
Yeah, man. Yeah. It kind of, validates everything, that you are doing something special and that, you are doing something worthy, of somebody else getting on your music.
Especially if they're talking about something really conscious or,
right.
That really means something. It's like, man, it's almost a spiritual, experience. You know what I mean? You feel a connection with them.
Yeah, for sure, man.
They saw your idea musically and they added to it, verbally. It's like,
it's like, man, that's what I would have said. I just can't say it as well as you, but
I can rap. Man.
Right. That's what's up. All right, man. Well, what's your favorite song that you ever produced?
One of my favorites is one of the songs I actually created on YouTube, and a lot of people ask me about It's called "Come Close," where I took this William Bell sample and chopped it up on YouTube, and I made that on the MPC 3000. I forgot that's one of the things I have too. Love that machine. People really, I think that has like over like 50,000 something views or something crazy on YouTube, and so people were asking me about it. So I was like, recently I put out an album called Subscribe Volume 1, and it's an album basically about the songs that I did on YouTube that people always ask me about. They would ask me to make some certain songs available for download or whatever, and that was one of the songs. Put that and a few other songs on the album, and it's called Subscribe Volume 1. You can get that on my website, HillProp97.com.
Cool. All right. Well, Beat Grinders, you guys already know what to do. You know, you guys just pause this interview right now. Go to HillProp97.com. Check that out. We'll be here waiting for you. All you got to do is press on pause, and we'll be right back here. So at this very same spot. So, all right. Well, what's an album besides one that you worked on that you recommend every producer listen to, and why?
I love that DJ Premier. The album he did for J. Rue the Damager, Sunrises in the East.
Nice.
And that was at a time I was in high school. This was like 92, 93. And I remember playing it. Like every like school had that one person who would get these albums nobody ever heard of.
Right.
You know, J. Rue wasn't all that known at the time.
Right.
And I was playing. I had like a carpool. I would drive. You know, people in my neighborhood. We went to the same school, private school, and I popped that tape in the deck. This is when there was no CDs at the time. Well, it was. You know, everybody had a tape deck still.
Yeah.
And I put that in. I just remember them like blowing their minds. Like I had already heard the album, so I knew what the deal was. But
right.
I remember one of my friends, Reggie. He was like, you know, this dude making beats up, like making his own sounds, like because. He was chopping the record. It was like just different sounds put together, like a collage of sounds,
right? And
it dope drums over it, and it's just so crazy. Like what he did with the what sample with the Come Clean record, the water.
Doom.
Drums come in. It just blew our minds, man.
Right.
That record really exemplifies what I love about hip hop and the type of hip hop I like to make. So I like to, when people hear my music, I want them to be like, "Damn, what do you do to that sample?" Like a lot of times I'll play the sample out, and you know, before the song comes on, and then I'll show how I chopped it, and I love seeing the look on people's faces, you know, when they hear the chop. You know,
right. That's how you know you're a master at your craft, man. When people can't even figure out how you did it. You laid it out for them, like, here's what I got, here's the sample, and then here's what I did. And they're like, how did you get from A to B? That's the beauty. That's the art. Right.
Art, right?
Yep, no doubt, man.
That album is, I recommend. It's a classic album. I'm pretty sure most people to the podcast gonna already know about the album, but yeah.
Okay, well, Beat Grinders, if you guys haven't heard the album, I'll definitely provide a link under in the show notes on beatsgrindinglife.com under HillProp97 show notes. You guys go check that out. It is a classic album. So, all right, man. Well, I want to know, you know, you got a pick in one hand, a hammer in one hand, pick in the other, and you're at Mount Rushmore. It's a blank slate. You have to put 4 faces up there of producers. Who are you putting up on Mount Rushmore today?
Wow. I kind of want to stay away from like the obvious answers like Dilla,
right?
You know, Pete Rock, Premier, and I'm gonna go maybe second tier. I don't think you say second tier because they dope. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like I go Knots right now. Alchemist. I heard this album he did with like church, like gospel music. He has like a couple albums with he sampled gospel music. And one of the best jobs I ever heard of like chopping up you know, gospel records.
Wow.
I go back non-hip hop wise, I'll do Isaac Hayes.
Nice.
Oh
Great.
man. What's that? 3. One
Yep.
more. Oh man. I'll go ahead and put Premier on there just because he's where he's like the icon I would always look up to as far as like drum wise and sample wise. I'll go ahead and put Premier.
Okay. Well, man, I mean, none of these guys are second tier producers. All these guys are first rate, but I do appreciate that, you didn't go with the usual suspects. Here on Beats Grinding Life a lot, we hear the same names. And so, it is refreshing to get some new faces up on Mount Rushmore. We got Knots, we got Alchemist, Isaac Hayes, Premier, all those are legendary producers that definitely go into the Music Production Hall of Fame. There's not a such thing, but we're making one up today. But yeah, man. So thank you for that, man. All those great producers, man. That's what's up. All right, man. Well, I want you to imagine that you just came out of the perfect studio session today, man. And in that studio session, you have one artist, one co-producer to go along with yourself, one engineer, one random person. All these people can either be dead or alive. Who is in the studio with you?
I'll go with the engineer. I'll go with Eddie Sancho.
Okay.
Premier's audio engineer.
Dope.
Just the way he gets he makes Premier's beats come to life on record or whatever is incredible to me.
Mm-hmm.
I would take Knots.
Dope.
Because I would lean on him for his bass lines, man.
Yeah, right. Mm-hmm.
I'd put it together with the drums and everything. I'm like, can you play something Knots? Throw one of your bass lines, do what you do.
Yep.
So Knots. I'm sorry, what's the other?
Artist and random person.
Okay, artist. Oh wow. Oh, I love MCs that I can relate to. Like they talk about things. I mean, they can talk about some BS sometimes, but I want to hear some real life, stories. They show vulnerability. Somebody like a Ghostface.
Mm-hmm.
I love Fonte, even though it doesn't seem like he's interested in certain beats nowadays. I don't know.
Yeah, he's switching things. He definitely is singing a lot here, but still one of the greatest lyricists out there.
Yeah, that's why I'm kind of mad at him because he's so talented.
Mm-hmm.
Both, I just love his MC, his MCing. But Fonte, Ghostface, I like the new cats. I like Conway.
Yeah.
Dope.
Mm-hmm.
Joey Badass.
Nice.
But I'll say Ghost.
Okay. And who's that random person gonna be?
Just like anybody, like random.
Yeah, anybody in the world.
Oh man. I'll say somebody from my crew, Dirty Old Man Crew. It's a group of producers here in the area in East Coast, West Coast, and
dope.
Producers like me to sample. It'd be one of them, maybe like a CX or a Black Mass. Somebody be like, okay, this sounds good. Maybe do this, maybe do that.
Right. That's what's up, man. Well, I mean, they're not just going to be sitting up. They're not just going to be wallflowers. At least you put another producer in there that can contribute to the session. So, I mean, you got on the beats, you got one of your crew members, either CX or Black Mass, helping out, and then, in the booth, you got Ghostface. And then on the board you got Eddie Sancho, man. That does seem like a dream session right there, man. I mean, I could only imagine what you guys would come out with. It would definitely be some classic hip hop. I would think. I could only imagine.
Oh yeah, man. That's definitely a dream situation.
Man. Yeah, no doubt, man. No doubt. Okay. All right, man. Well, if you woke up tomorrow and you lost everything that you had and you somehow appeared on a new planet identical to Earth, but you lost everything that you had except for your knowledge and $1,000 of that currency, what would you do in the next week to restart your career?
Oh, that's a crazy question.
It's a really crazy question.
Well, if it's the same type of world we live in right now, there has to be eBay or some type of second. I can get some secondhand equipment on the or Craigslist. I would be searching for that MPC Live, which is standalone. I wouldn't need a computer.
Dope.
And I would be I would get that and that and a device that has access to the internet where I can sample straight from YouTube. Since I'm on a limited budget, I can't buy records or a turntable.
Right.
I'll get an iPod, a secondhand iPod, sample from YouTube, and
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a plan right there, man. That sounds like a plan for sure, man. You got the biggest collection of music right there on YouTube. Maybe not the biggest, but you can definitely you got a lot that you could choose from for sure. And then you got the MPC Live, which you could use a computer with or not. And then an iPod as well, man. So that's what's up. So okay, I'm feeling that, man. And the reason why I asked this question is because there's a lot of people out there that want to get into music production, but they just don't know how, and they have a limited budget. And this definitely shows people how they can get started, get into it. And there's also people out there, producers out there, that have equipment that have malfunctioned or that have been stolen, and they just need to know how can they restart. You definitely provided them with some great resources there, man. That's what's up. Thank you.
No problem.
All right, man. Well, I want to know, what does legacy mean to you, man? And also, what do you want your legacy to be when you leave this earth?
I think we're about the same age. I'm 42, turning 43.
Okay. Yeah, I'm 40. About to turn 40.
Okay. Major birthday right there.
Yep.
You get around this age, you start thinking about legacy. You start thinking about, okay, I'm going to die sometime. Hopefully it won't be anytime soon. But I mean, about what are people going to think about you when you're gone? Musically, I want to leave that a great piece of work out there I haven't created yet, but I'm working my way up to that. And I want to leave something that's going to be like, something that the Premier did, like a Sunrises in the East, something like that. Back years later and look at it as a classic piece of work. No
doubt.
So I want to do that with my tutorials too. I want to continue to help people learn their machines. People get at me all the time and they'll tell me that they learn how to make beats or learn certain things from watching my YouTube videos.
Wow.
And I'm thinking that's like legacy right there. Like I'm people get into the game and inspiration wise, or like technically they're learning things, especially through my tutorials, which I was selling my tutorials on eBay, the physical DVD. I was making up DVDs, and I stopped that. And now with the new website, people can go on there and just download the tutorials straight from the website.
Okay.
So yeah, I want to continue doing that, showing people how to make hip hop music. Boom. The particular genre I do is boom bap, of course, sampling and drum heavy, songs. So that's the kind of legacy I want to leave behind. Good music, and people can watch the tutorials and learn how to do things.
That's awesome, man. Well, it sounds like you're on your way to doing that, man. I mean, like you said, people have already hit you up and let you know how much you've helped them and how much you've, catapulted their production career. So that's what's up, man. I mean, that's what it's all about, is leaving a piece of you. When you're gone, you can continue to help others. You can continue to inspire others. And so that's a great answer, man. I'm definitely loving that. All right, man. Well, what's the greatest piece of advice that you've received coming up in this game, and what advice would you have for all the beat grinders listening today?
I guess I'll start by just sharing some advice for all the beat grinders out there and producers. Definitely save your work.
Word up.
Especially when you're working on something. If you don't, like we talked about it before, but if you're not really feeling something that you're making, excuse me, save it anyway.
Right.
Because what'll happen is you'll go back and listen to it, and I do it all the time. I'll go back and I'll be like, I'll forget all about the song. I was like, I wonder what this song is right here, and I'll click on it, and the whole session will come up, and I'll listen to it. I'm like, oh wow, okay. Why did something with this song?
Right. Yeah.
But your ears change. You hear things differently. Mm-hmm. So definitely save, and even if you don't like a beat that you've done, save it anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
Dope.
And advice that someone's given me is it was more so technical advice as far as like ASDR settings. But little stuff like that, people like giving me little hints. Okay, with chopping up, sometimes you want to adjust the attack so that your songs don't sound so choppy. So you adjust the attack on some of the samples.
Nice, that's a good one.
Especially if they have like some noise or something in the beginning of the sample of the chop, and you want to just adjust that attack maybe 1 or 2 clicks, and it makes it sound a little smoother. And when you actually put everything together, it makes it seem like a loop,
right?
That you sampled instead of chops that you created.
Dope. That's a gem, man. For the new guys out there trying to chop up samples.
A little technical advice, yeah.
For sure, man. All right, man. Well, we reached the end of the interview, man, and I just want to know, if there's anything else that you want to let the beat grinders know about. If you want to tell them about your DVDs one more time, or tell them, what they should be listening to from you and how to contact you, man, that would be great. And also, what's coming up for you?
Yeah, I want to start off by saying thank you to you for having me on your podcast, man. This is an incredible experience.
Thank you, man.
Thank you to all the beat grinders out there watching the show. I want to say that you can follow me on Instagram at HillProp97 on Instagram, or Facebook, HillProp97 on there. HillProp97 on YouTube. That's where I have most of my videos at. And then the new website, HillProp97.com, where you can see my videos and download all my tutorials. And I have how to make boom bap drums on there for any machine. So you can get my albums there. Get the latest album called Subscribe, Volume 1 on my website, and my other 2 albums, SP1200 Dreams, which I used the SP1200 to make 30 tracks for the album.
Wow.
Definitely check me out on the website where you can get all the tutorials and music.
Okay. All right. Well, beat grinders, you guys know you got some homework to do, so go hit up HillProp97.com. Check him out. Check out everything that he's doing, and don't be afraid to contact him on Instagram as well. So, HillProp.
If they have any, I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No, go ahead.
If they have any questions, they can always DM me on Instagram, at HillProp97, or you can email me, HillProp97@gmail.com. But the best way to probably get me is Instagram.
Okay. Well, you guys heard it from the man. I want to thank you, HillProp, for coming on the show, man. Really appreciate it. Really appreciate all the gems that you spread, and just having a great conversation with a fellow producer, man. It was a great time, man.
Oh man, I had a blast, man. Thank you so much, Siren. I appreciate everything, man.
Yeah, man, no doubt. And Beat Grinders, thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of Beats Grinding Life. I hope that you guys found this show interesting and fun. And if you did, please share it on Instagram, share it on Facebook, and any other social platform, and just let the people know, about this show. Also tag HillProp, let him know what you thought. Tag me as well, let me know what you thought. And you guys know how it goes down. You've been mentored again this week by another great producer. You've been mentored by HillProp97, so you guys consider yourselves lucky for that. And thank you for tuning in again, and keep making beats, keep grinding, and keep living life. All right, y'all, peace out.
Peace.
Here Here at Beats Grinding Life, we want to thank you for listening to another episode. We want to know, what were your biggest takeaways from this interview? Just go to beatsgrindinglife.com and leave a comment on this episode's show notes page. Also, while you are there, go subscribe to the podcast on iTunes. Just click the little button that says subscribe. If you could, please leave a rating and review. Rating and reviews are the best way to show your appreciation because it helps more people find out about the podcast. So until next week's episode, keep grinding.